Yeah, you can even put your no salary in there, but you can you can keep depositing money off and on. But you know what? Forget it, because we need 90-day history, and if you keep putting money, that will keep cutting down the time period. So let's put whatever you have, $90,000 in it, right, and then wait 90 days. I hope you get a job. Okay. Okay. All right. So I will have to end this conversation now to get into the setting mode. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello, mic testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello, mic testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello. It's 2 minutes to go, and we are going to start an awesome journey on first-time home buyer home purchase presentation. So I really uh, think this is going to benefit you if you're a first-time buyer. Even if you are a seasoned buyer, there may be certain nuggets that you may find useful, and you can always raise your hand. You can always let us know that you want to say something, and we would love to have your feedback. And at end, we would have Q&A session. So you can always ask me question. You can type your question there, and I would love to answer them to my best abilities. Enjoying morning tea so far, and setting up the whole presentation was my day, that the way it started today. We are officially on. So this is Paul Cheema. I'm a broker with Remax Prime Properties, and I am also a mortgage agent with Akal Mortgages in Mississauga, where when we say yes, we stand behind our promise. So I'm in real estate for over more than 14 years now, and in mortgage industry more than 2 years. So why I took mortgage license? Just to provide two services at one end. And I find it very helpful, and I have the same feeling from my clients. So the first time home buyer is very much prone to wrong decisions. Why? Because we all come from different backgrounds and we end up doing something which we think was okay back home but is not okay here. In this world, the word trust has changed its meanings. Now you trust people based on their abilities, based on their reviews. We'll talk about that very shortly. But when I bought my first home, I can tell you that it was very hard for me to buy. I did not have much knowledge, and I put all my trust in the person who was helping me buy a home. With zero knowledge and putting entire trust, I got into a property without seeing available options. It, with God's blessing, that was okay decision, but I have to spend a lot of money after my purchase. The furnace broke down, the refrigerators broke down, the wall behind washer and dryer crumbled. I have to replace the washer and dryers. The floors were bad. A few years later, after buying my property, I have to fix the floors. And there were so many other things that we weren't able to understand, and we weren't even provided any guidance. To the extent that we were not suggested doing a home inspection on the property. So, with improper showings, when the entire household was sitting inside the property and we're just peeking through the doors, we did not even walk into the property itself. That was a terrible purchase. We fixed it later on, but at that point in time, it incurred about $25,000 extra in cost. Sometimes people have it, sometimes they don't have it. So, and the and the terrible thing was that the moment we moved into the house, I got chicken pox from I got it from somewhere while I was driving trucks, and that kind of put me into really tough spot. I do not want anyone else who is new Canadian, just landed and are planning to buy their future home. I don't want them to go through similar situation like me. So that's why I put more emphasis on trainings and educating. I see many home buyers do not know what questions to ask. Knowing some intricacies, some dynamics about home purchase will always help you asking the right questions from your representative. So let's take the journey. So this is today's agenda. First of all, I welcome you if you are here or if you are watching this video on YouTube. Thank you very much for taking the first step towards home ownership. I guess you are renting at the moment, so we will talk about renting versus ownership. Why ownership? We'll talk about that. Steps to home ownership. Some assessments you have to take about your home purchase goals and aspirations. Hiring a realtor, what you should think about. If you Google this up, you will get thousands and thousands of suggestions. You don't have to go by all that. If I'm putting this thing on my website, I will put everything that favors me. If someone else does that, how you should hire a realtor, it will be helpful to him only. So those reports may be biased reports, a pitch, a sales pitch. So be careful. Do not believe everything Google tells you. We'll talk a bit about searching, finding, and going out to see the houses. And then we'll talk about the purchase dynamics. followed by legalities, some cautions. Then we'll talk about how to close the deal. I'm just turning off my phone so I don't get a phone call. We'll talk about that, certain those, then we'll talk about closing. We'll talk about moving day and a bit about credit. What affects your credit? Why use a mortgage broker? Taking mortgages, importance of pre-approval, non-conventional mortgages, and first-time home buyer incentive. So we have a lot to discuss. If you know most of this, you can skip to the relevant portion if you're watching it on YouTube later. But if you're here, enjoy the ride. Oh, before we move further, I will tell you that this website, gtaforsalehomes.com, this is my website, but it is power-packed website. If you want to read useful reports, they are all here. 12 steps guide to buying your home, land transfer tax, house hunting checklist, government programs, checklist, title insurance, helpful links, and all those nitty-gritties. I will show you exactly because now it's kind of blocked by this menu pop-up. So then you can go hit the find my home, my dream home. This website has tons of features that I'm going to talk about in a bit. So all these reports are available to you for free. Read them, educate yourself, because what you're going to buy is a very expensive proposition. Did I turn my microphone on? Yes, I did. Suddenly it occurred to me. So moving forward, renting versus buying. I know you are renting right now, or maybe you're not if you are second-time home buyers. There are advantages to both renting and owning a home. Both are good program in certain way, both are bad programs in certain ways. But now you have to choose one devil over the other devil. Make sure you understand the benefits and responsibilities that come with each of these, renting or buying. Let's talk about renting. In renting, we'll have pros and cons side by side, and so is buying on the other side, pros and cons. So in renting, you pay less maintenance and repair cost. You pay a fixed amount of money, and then sometimes utilities are included or not. In renting, sometimes landlords to attract you will also give you free Wi-Fi because most of people these days are running unlimited Wi-Fi. Maybe you already have Wi-Fi, but that's one advantage you will get. But trust me, some homeowners can be terrible. So you have lower monthly and upfront costs. So you know that you are paying $1,000, $1,800, $2,000 per month, and then that's it. You are not paying anything more than that, right? And then you are on a shorter term commitment. So you can move to a new home, neighborhood, or city anytime you want. You just have to give a notice as per your lease setup and then just move out. So these are the pros. So less maintenance, lower monthly cost, and shorter term commitment. But when it, okay, there's one more, I forgot that. Protection from decrease in property value. Honestly, is not applicable in Greater Toronto area. And if it does, I would be very surprised because I took my license somewhere in 2007, 2008, in between. I have never seen property values in Greater Toronto area go down. So now you can invest your cash. If you think that you are buying, not renting, and put the balance cash in investment, maybe you will save up some more money for your down payment in future. So coming to cons, monthly payments may increase every year. But the good news here is Landlord and tenant board will not allow you to raise beyond a certain percentage. There is government regulations on how much rent you can increase every year. I think it is 1.5% to 2%. So if you go more than that, there has to be a valid reason for doing that. No landlord can ask you to pay beyond the percentages set up by the government. They are available online. You can say rent guidelines 2021, you will find that out. The risk that your lease will not be renewed. So this there is a continuous threat on your head. What if I if the landlord asks me to move out next year? Then you will have to pick everything, move your schooling, your job, your driving cost increases. So many things happen that will be always a risk in your mind. It won't let you feel free. Then you're paying someone else's mortgage because they are renting, they need help paying their mortgage. So, what's the best way to do that? Rent it out. So, they will rent a portion or the entire house if they have a secondary or third property or fourth property. You can't paint or remodel the home without permission. But even if you get permission, all that money you spend is gone. Some landlords may not pay you back. If they are considerate, well, they might, but mostly they are not. Coming to buying, freedom to renovate or modify. So, whatever con is here, we can fix those in purchase. So, you are building equity in a safe, secure investment. Your house is the biggest investment. In this, whatever payment you make towards mortgage, some of it comes back to you as principal recapture that gets added on to your equity. So you buy with less than 20% in the beginning, but after 5 year term or whatever term you choose, it changes to 20%. And that is astonishing feature of home buying. In renting, all the money is thrown away. Like it's like you are tearing those currency bills and throwing them in garbage. But here, so whenever you pay, you get something back. And living expenses that way are very less. So just like you are renting, you can be a landlord now and be a good landlord. Stability and peace of mind. Now you don't have to move your schools. You don't have to change anything. Your drive stays the same for a long time, and you have a stable life. And then the benefit of getting money into your property, which you can use for funding your second property, you're funding higher education. So coming down to cons of buying a house. The risk of financial loss if your home has lost value when you sell, even though not possible in Greater Toronto area to my best experience, but this is something we cannot guarantee. If the house value falls, you owe more to the banks and then you will end into a negative cash flow. Responsibility for all the ongoing costs, which are taxes, property taxes, your utility bills complete, any repairs, renovation on the property, you will pay for that, like home insurance on your property, and you also will need to have either a mortgage insurance or your life insurance, just in case something happens to you, you are covered. Monthly payments can increase significantly if mortgage interest rate goes up. That depends if you are on variable or fixed rate. So you understand the benefits and harms of both of these living styles, renting and buying. Okay, but people still choose buying. Why? Pride. Coming down to the next slide, and the potential or possibility of unexpected and potentially costly repair. It is always there. Your roof may collapse, something may happen, wall may crumble. So you are looking into that. But how often it happens depends on kind of house and where you bought it. So why home ownership? Home ownership, to our best knowledge, brings these three things. We just spoke about them: stability, equity, and pride. Stability is the key factor. So when I bought my house after renting close to 1.5 years, that was because I didn't want any landlord to walk into my basement and wake up my kids, or just do kind of, you know, sneak peek. Some landlords are very like sneaky. They want to see everything is going right, so they'll come into your house when you are not there, walk around. And I could tell when I would open my fridge upon return from my work, I could tell someone was here, right? So there are people, all kind of people, and you do not know if your landlord has a history. They all want the history of tenants or want to know about tenants, but no tenant has ever asked to know, hey, I want to know, I want to see the police report on the landlord. How unfortunate and how one sided the system works. So let's come to the steps of home ownership. So you agree with me that to buy a house, when you buy a house, you get stability in life, you get equity in future, you get pride of home ownership. So, but how do we get there? There are tons of resources available online, and some of the data has been compiled from them. If you want further research on these, you can always visit Canadian Real Estate Association website, Ontario Real Estate Association website. You can also visit GTAforsalehomes.com website, and you can also visit government website. I think that is, you just type Canada.ca home purchase, and then CMHC, which is Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation website, or GE Genworth website, which is Sagen now. So steps to home ownership: assessing your needs. Without assessing your needs, how would you know what kind of house and where you want to go? We'll talk a bit more about that. And assessing your finances, absolutely necessary, right? Assessing neighborhood. Which neighborhood is good for you? We'll talk about each and every tile in the following slides. But I want you to just understand how you should start. What are your preliminary items to consider before you call a realtor to start showing you houses? If you start reverse, it's going to hurt you. It's going to take more time qualifying for a house and land you in more trouble. And mortgage approval, which is a critical component, and then home showings, how to search for homes and where to search for homes and how to go about seeing the houses. These days it is very hard. It is has to be very cautious. So then the next steps to home ownership are purchase process. You must understand how the entire process works and runs. Cautions in during the purchase that you should exercise, what legalities are involved that you should be aware of. We will not consider the whole plethora of legalities because unfortunately I don't have a solicitor on call today. He has to leave for some urgent business at their own end. And closing the deal and then moving to your home. That's a wonderful, the most beautiful component is last. You are rewarded for doing all these things, from assessing all the way to moving. Okay, so let's start moving, assessing your needs. So when I say assessing your needs, what do you really mean with it? Why buy? Is it really for you? Do you really want to buy your house, or you can just keep living the way you were? So that is something for you to assess. Because as a realtor, anyone would say, yeah, go buy your house. But if something goes wrong, who is going to be in trouble? You only. So why buy? You must sit down with your family and find answer to this question. Renting versus purchasing. You have to consider that. So you can always calculate your mortgage. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. You can get rates if you download an app called MoPolo, and then that gives you daily rate. So use a calculator on gtaforsalehomes.com and then punch the numbers and see how much you would be paying towards your purchase versus what you're paying today as rent. So do that over 1 year, 2 year, or 5 year term and see how much capital you will get back for an approximation. Just make it in the beginning, couple years, 3 years, do 40% recapture of principal and 60% expense. But here in renting, it's 100% expense. When you do those numbers, you will figure out which is the best option for you. Or you can use the help of a real estate broker, an agent, or your financial advisor, anyone you can pick up, right? You need to figure out what size house is good for you. If you're just husband wife, you don't need a bigger house. Maybe you are looking to expand your family, then of course you can see that after 5 years your needs may change. So today you do not have to go for a way bigger house that is hard to manage, that makes you work all the time, but you cannot enjoy life. So you have to assess that what size of house you need and duration of the house. How long you want to live there. You want to live there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This is going to determine when you go for mortgage approval. If your plan is to live in this house, a starter home, which we call for all the new Canadians first home, so duration is important because if you are planning to sell the house after 2 years, then of course you take the mortgage term for 2 years only. Because when you break, there are prepayment penalties. I will talk about that at an appropriate time. Then you may be concerned about schools. If you have young children, so you will like to buy a house which is closer to those amenities, schools or workplace, whatever is on your mind. And of course, work location. How much commute? Do you have a car or you don't have a car? Have you come here on a work permit and have to live in this particular place? Then, of course, all these factors will give you a fairly good indicator of what kind of house you are looking to target. Is has to be a detached or semi or townhome based on your price point. Your realtors or mortgage agent will be able to help you out. I hope you are finding it useful. Please, if you like this presentation and if you're seeing it on YouTube, I would ask you to click on the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. So now, moving forward, you have to assess how much down payment you have. Down payment has to be in valid funds. So when I say valid funds, it means the bank will ask to see your down payment for at least 90 days. Exceptions may be possible, but do not bank on them. That will put the entire deal into jeopardy if you do not have down payment in your account for more than 90 days. Monthly payment. Figure out. Remember, I just spoke about the calculator. Figure out how much monthly payment you can easily afford and then find the size, the amount of the house you want to buy. Do not go beyond your limit. Stretching beyond your limit is going to put you in deep trouble. And it could be a 5 year commitment or 3 year or 4 year that we just spoke about. But most of the people usually go with 5 year term. You find out because sometimes lower terms have better rate of interest. So figure out what your plans are. Good so far? Thank you. Now coming down to how to assess your neighbor. As a real estate agent or broker, I cannot give higher rating to one neighborhood over the other. For us, every neighborhood is a great neighborhood. We cannot discriminate based on that. But if you are concerned about it, I can definitely send you some links to do your research. So go check those links out. Those are very valid links. You can text me at 647-333-2273. Say, hey, Paul, can you send me research? I want to assess this neighborhood for myself. I will be able to help you out there. And then you can also go on the regions or the municipalities, police department's website and find out the crime statistics. They are mostly available online. They have a map. So whatever neighborhood you want to go to, you will see the crime rate and what kind of crimes were reported from those locations. And based on that, you can figure out. And coming forward, age of homes. How old are the homes in this particular neighborhood? You can tell by the size of the trees. You can tell by stamps on those sewage covers. You can check if you're looking at a house. Sometimes there is a walkway and they have a stamp on the concrete. You can check that up as well. And check out if this neighborhood has a neighborhood watch. So the neighborhood watch program means everyone is looking for each other's back. That means if there are any bad elements entering that neighborhood, someone will always report them. And that also means that these people will be hesitant to go into those areas which have neighborhood watch sign up there on both sides of the street. City puts them up. Now, demographics. You may be interested to know what kind of people live here. All this data is available for you. You can check the income point for these people who are living in the neighborhood, the type of jobs they are in, the languages they speak, the age groups, educational levels, and see if that neighborhood rings a bell with you. If does, if it does, jump into that. Hiring a realtor. People hire realtor from referrals. You know someone who just bought a house and you call them up, hey Paul, can you recommend me your realtors? And then you come in. It may be a great idea, but sometimes it could backfire as well, right? You don't know. You don't know if the person referring is being paid some referral commission or not by referring you to someone. So figure out, okay, so hey Paul, thank you very much for referring James. And can you tell me if you bought any of your house through him, or you know anyone who bought a house through him, and how was the service level? Find out, go further. Just don't blindly accept anything. And another criteria to assess a realtor could be the online reviews. Every business these days is online. So why not Google up Paul Cheema on Google and see if I come up, if I show up. Do I have enough resources up there? That are there people who are recommending me on social media, on Google business, wherever? Feel free to research. One of my client actually, she said, oh, I will call you after I have seen you online. And she called me within 24 hours and I ended up selling her house. It was in Brampton. Reputation among peers. It is very critical. The person you select to represent you is respected and is known among his peer or her peers as a reasonable agent. Basically, this is a great parameter. Have you ever seen people who lose temper having great reputation? Because negotiation is a very patient process. If your representative acts funny during negotiation, you may lose your chance to buy the house. So reputation is really important. Google up, check the person, and see the interaction. Knowledge of the subject. But how would you test knowledge? You yourself are new Canadian. You don't know anything about it. Ask questions. As human beings, we can always sense how someone responds to your questions. So, after running through this presentation, I'm pretty sure you will have a better understanding when you call your realtor and say, "Hey, which neighborhood do you think is best?" He says, "Oh, neighborhood XYZ." Then you Google up XYZ and see the crime statistics and every information. Does it match to what this person said? That will give you some indication. There are so many red flags people just disregard because a person is referred or she just picked up at random from for sale signs. So get to know the working with a realtor disclaimer. This is a disclaimer published by Real Estate Council of Ontario, which means you should understand the service levels available to you. Knowing that is very important. If you cannot handle that, you don't understand that, please feel free to ask questions from them. This is the first document before you actually sign any paperwork with your realtor. Get to know the service options available. And then buyer representation agreement. Many people are afraid to sign this document for the sake of getting caught. They think this is kind of jail they're putting themselves in. But what they don't understand is that this document itself outlines how the services will be delivered. This protects a buyer because this is a fiduciary responsibility on the part of realtor to sign this agreement. If you do not know about that, ask the copy of this document, ask for a draft, and then go through it. Read it thoroughly. If you do not understand any part of it, give a call to the realtor who gave it to you and ask for clarification. If you know any solicitor, ask solicitor. Get to know this document. These are legal papers. Signing them means you're committing to something. So read carefully. In some presentation, I will talk just about buyer representation agreement. This is big. I don't know why it showed up last. Unique service proposition. Does your agent have a unique service proposition? Agents who have confidence in their service would always give you a comfort level. For my clients, which I call as VIP buyer clients, I give them a guaranteed savings of minimum $10,000 on any house they buy as long as the house is priced at 500,000 or higher than that. I can still provide guarantee below that price point, but the numbers will change. I provide all my clients with 4 hours free moving, and I also give them free duct cleaning, which is quite expensive. And these guys clean your ducts every 3 or 4 years. Then you don't need to clean that every year because the job they do is phenomenal. So I give those guarantees because I'm confident about my negotiation skills. Is the realtor you're working with is confident? Does he have any USP, unique service proposition? Find out about that and see if he has given. You can ask for referrals. You can ask him, "Hey, I would like to work with you, but I'm just speculating. I'm new to Canada, and is there any way someone can vouch for you? Someone who bought a property through you?" Ask for referrals, and realtors would be able to provide you that information after seeking permission from someone who would say, "Oh, yeah, Paul, I'm happy to give referral," or check for video testimonials if they have it. This is important because without funds, no house can be purchased unless you have cash money and you can just go, "Okay, bingo, I'm buying this house." So here you need to check this out. Bank or broker. People think they have great credit, they can go to bank. Why go to broker? I don't know what they will do, what they will not do. We'll talk about that in a short while. Rent rate hold versus pre-approval. Overlapping terms. Pre-approval means nothing, even approval may be withdrawn by bank. at the last minute. Rate hold versus pre-approval. In rate hold, the banks give you a guaranteed rate. Okay, we'll fund your deal at 1.84%, and that rate may be valid till X number of days before closing. Let's say 7 days before closing. If the rate drops below guaranteed rate 7 days before closing, the bank will give you low rate. Let's say it goes from 1.84 to 1.5, you will get 1.5. And if it goes higher than 1.84, you will still get 1.84. That is what rate hold means. Some pre-approvals are just over the phone. Hey, I make $100,000. How much of a house can I buy? And the guy say, yeah. You know what? You can buy up to maybe $550,000 house. That pre-approval is funny. Pre-approval means nothing unless your papers are examined or reviewed by the bank. Those things don't matter. Even pre-approval doesn't matter. Rate hold works better because now you have a document saying we give them guaranteed rate. Okay, ask me for more details on this whenever you want. 647-333-2273, or you can also call my dedicated mortgage line 647-328-3279. What rate you want, fixed or variable? We'll talk about that in a bit. Open or closed. Term versus amortization. Term of the loan and what is amortization. You will keep hearing these terms off and on. And prepaying. Can you prepay your mortgage? If you hit a 649 tomorrow, maybe you would like to pay, hey, here is your $800,000. I don't need it anymore. So let me take you forward straight to the mortgage component. Banks assess your mortgage based on your credit. And credit is a really big thing. This is how banks see you as a good debtor or as a bad debtor or as a bad borrower, right? So those 5 C's are capacity, your ability to pay the loan, your job stability and income earning history, minimum 3 months, right? They will have to see the pay stubs, or they will need to see your bank statements verifying the money is coming into your bank account. Capacity. And they will need 2 years job history. At the same time, for new Canadians, they may fund your deal with as little as 3 months job history. And credit. Your credit tells everything: your payment history, amount owed to creditors, length of credit history, new credit or old credit. If it is just one page credit, it may mean nothing. You may be happy, hey, I got 900 credit or 850 credit. Means nothing if you don't have anything behind that. Sometimes international credit reports may also be considered. Types of credit you have, what kind of loans you have on it. Are they institutional, they're student loan, they're auto loans, they're revolving loans, what loans you have. They will need to see that and see how much component you use. That's how they will validate your credit. Capital, the down payment, percentage down payment or percentage of equity built into the property. And they also need to see source of down payment. Remember, I told you before, source of information is really critical. So they need to see your money sitting in the bank for 90 days. So make sure you have those funds available for safety. Collateral. Collateral is the property which will carry mortgage. So they will need to see the location of property, property itself, property type, and the marketability of this property. Why marketability? Why is bank concerned with marketability? Simple. If you default, if you run away without paying mortgage, the bank will have to sell that house. So the marketability will figure in at that point. Okay? Then character. Willingness to pay the loan, employment stability, length of job, tenure, freehold or or sorry, length of your job, and repaired or improved situation. They will all check into that. So capacity, credit, capital, collateral, character. These are the 5 C's of credit that bank is going to look at your bureau and then say yes or no based on what level of risk the financial institution senses in you. The banks have particular ratios, GDS or TDS, which is 3944 as of today. You cannot exceed those ratios. So what affects your credit score? Payment history, 35%. If you are paying regularly, that is 35%. People say, oh, I have this score. It means nothing to the bank. Score is a just little factor in the whole ball game. But how you are paying, how responsible are you toward your payment will be determined, which is 35%. And outstanding balances, 30%. Cannot exceed this number. So make sure your loan doesn't go more than 60, 70% of whatever line you have. Length of credit, only 15%. So 35%, 30%, 15%. Do you see scores here? You don't, right? Let's move forward. Type of credit. Is it mortgage credit? It is credit card? Is it student loan? Is it what you call installment? Those things factor. You haven't seen credit score right here, right? And your inquiries, 10%. Avoid unnecessary inquiries. Do not start shopping for something off and on. That's okay. Do not apply for the store credit cards, or someone in the mall says, hey, we have free score for you, can you get it? Don't go there. Avoid them as much as you can. So all these things will affect your credit score. Make sure you're keeping things better. So we spoke about going to the bank or going to the mortgage broker. So why use a mortgage broker? I have a great credit, and I know once I walk into the bank, they're going to give me a royal treatment, and they're going to give me money like this. I wish that was that easy. When I bought my house, I paid 5 trips to the bank, and I could not get hold of the mortgage person there, mobile mortgage specialist. I ended up calling my realtor, who gave me a bad treatment, to find me mortgage. Because I was driving truck, I didn't have time to go to mortgage for mortgage, and my conditions were lapsing. So then he arranged some mortgage, which I got rid of after 5 years. When you go to mortgage broker, so mortgage from major banks to trust companies to private sources is available through mortgage brokers. We work with everyone. We have wide choice, but one bank can only sell their own products. Do you want to confine yourself to that product, or you want to see what's available all around? Only brokers can do that. Convenience, with one place to compare lenders and get the right mortgages for your needs. So you cannot go to one bank, apply, get a letter, and see what you will get, what you got, and then go to second bank, apply credit, get this best commitment, and compare the two. That's going to drain your credit score right away. But with mortgage brokers, we are able to get you the best rate possible by comparing the rates available from all these sources. And we don't need to pull your report again and again. And we give you counsel. We advise you how to do better so you can get a better rate. Remember this, we deal with major banks, and we pull your score once, and we shop around with as many lenders as possible to make sure we meet your unique needs. I spoke about that. Independent wise, we specialize in all types of mortgage: first, second, third, private, HELOC, rent to own, equity mortgage, whatever you want, we can provide you. And it doesn't cost you much. But there are certain circumstances you get to know beforehand if you're paying a fee or not. Mostly on private deals, you pay a fee. Flexible hours. We are available within your time schedule. If your shift ends at 10 o'clock night and you want to set up a meeting with me, I will make an exception and meet you 10 o'clock. But banks are not open at that time. But we can handle that. We can come to you. We have a simple application process. It's one page or two-page application. You put your information, boom, that is done. And we provide ongoing consultation. If anything changes in the market, you will get to know first. So you can brag about your mortgage knowledge with people. Taking mortgages. So let's talk about the lingo that is used in mortgage world. Amortization. Remember, we spoke about term or amortization. It's the length of time over which your mortgage will be paid. So banks give amortization period for 25%. So 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years. But you can also choose your own term, 20 years, 15 years, depends. So then bank is going to set your payments according to the amortization schedule you pick up. You say you want to pay off in 25 years, then the installments will be based on 35 years. But term may be shorter. Term may be 5 years. That means over 25 years amortization, you will have 5 terms. You cannot break a term. So term is when you will have to go back to the bank, update your information if they want, and get a mortgage. You can negotiate at that point in time. Length of time, the mortgage contract conditions and the interest rate is fixed. That is term. So as long as term is running, your contract is running. If you break it, you prepay, you make prepayment penalty. Closing cost. You hear that all this time. Cost in addition to the purchase price of the home that are payable on closing day, you will see that. And banks will ask you to show them that you have enough closing cost in your account. More than about 1.5% are the closing costs, and that has to be your money. And down payment, they will need to see your money you have. So the portion of the home price, this is your equity that you put into the house. They will need to see in your bank account. It must come from your own funds and traceable, tangible funds. You cannot have any fund that cannot be verified. So 90 days bank history just to prove that you have down payment in your bank is really critical. All right? Equity. Equity is what? This is difference between the price for which a home could be sold and the total debt registered against it. Let's say the house can be sold for $900,000, but total debt on this property is $700,000. That $200,000 is your equity. And you can always take 80% of that equity as another line, credit line. It could be second mortgage, it could be HELOC, it could be anything. Good so far? Remember to click on thumbs up if you're watching it on YouTube and subscribe to this channel. You will get alert every time I go live. Fixed and variable interest rates. A fixed rate is a locked-in rate that will not increase for the term of the mortgage, while a variable keeps fluctuating with the prime rate. Today, prime rate is 2.45. So if you got a mortgage with prime minus 1, and if prime changes to 3.45 tomorrow, your mortgage rate will go up and your payments will increase. So that is fixed versus variable. You need to see your comfort level. Are you okay handling variable mortgage? When you terminate variable mortgage, you only pay 3 months interest penalty. But when you terminate a fixed mortgage, interest penalty may be way higher. High ratio mortgages or conventional mortgages. Banks fund 80-20, 80% coming from a bank and 20% coming from your own pocket. This is conventional mortgage. But Government of Canada has a program for first-time home buyers which allows them to buy for less than 20% down payment. There is a fee they charge which is called default insurance. You pay a premium for that depending upon how much money you're putting down, and then the default insurance guarantees the bank their return, that okay, you will not lose your money. They guarantee bank on your behalf, but you pay for that insurance. Open and closed mortgages. In short, while you read this line, open is something that you can always prepay without any penalty, but closed is something you cannot prepay. So open mortgages have a higher rate than closed mortgages. I guess this is because banks have to meet a certain benchmark on whatever amount they lend out. So this is a little video available online on Canadian Real Estate Association. So I just picked it up and I'm going to share it with you right now. Watch it out. This is just less than 1 minute video. So how did you like this video? It was pretty simple, straightforward, and simple setup. So that is what is difference between variable and fixed mortgage. You can go to CREA website, just Google up CREA, CREA, you will find the link and you can find the first time, I think it's in the resources section on the website. So the importance of pre-approval or rate hold. It tells you how much house can you afford. So when you get pre-approved, bank is going to go through all your documentation and tell you, you know what, this is the amount we are comfortable funding for you. And that is just the mortgage component. You can add your down payment on top. So that is the house price. If the bank says it will fund your $700,000, remember, ask clearly what bank means. Did they say you can buy a house up to $700,000, or did they say they will fund you up to $700,000? That's going to make a big difference, righty? Remember asking that and hold that rate. So rate hold will be valid 60 to 120 days, depends on institution to institution. So get to know how long you have before this rate hold expires. Be very careful about that. The banks will not honor that. And your realtor would love you. So when you are a qualified buyer, you have more credibility Like in market today, there are multiple offers on any property. There were 22 on one property in Brampton, and last night where I submitted an offer, there were more than no, there were 9 offers, and we lost on it. So when you have pre-approval and you tell the listing agent, hey, I have pre-approval, this client is sure to close, it adds to your credibility. That helps. But make sure this is not a verbal pre-approval. Hey, my income is 100,000. How much house can I buy? That means nothing. So making your down payment. Less than $500,000 home, you pay 5% as a first-time home buyer. But if the value goes over, then you pay 5% on the first 500,000 and 10% on the difference above $500,000 to your purchase price. So let's say your house is priced at $700,000. So you will need to pay $25,000 on the first 500,000 component and 20,000, 7 minus 5 is 20,000 on the remainders. That is your total down payment will be $45,000. Do not miss on this, because sometimes that $5,000 difference, now it is more, 35 versus 45. The $10,000 difference can kill your day, because first-time home buyers are always gathering, collecting money from this corner of the house, from this pocket. They empty all their pockets to make down payment, unless you came from a very wealthy family. I wish that's the case. And if you're buying a house over $1 million, then the minimum down payment will be 20%. There is sliding scale on how much you can qualify for, but this you will all know if you get pre-approved beforehand. And these insurances, mortgages over $1 million, they are not insured by CMHC. So that means government program does not apply to them. And if the down payment is less than 20%, they are called high ratio mortgages. Even if your down payment is 19.9%, it is still a high ratio mortgage. But why would anyone put 90.99%? They will always come for another 0.01%. I'm just saying for the sake of argument here. So default mortgage insurance is added onto your onto your mortgage. So that was all about mortgage. So we're going back to our main presentation where we are here, right? So bank or broker, rate hold versus pre-approval, flat fixed or variable, open or closed, term versus amortization, prepayment. So you are aware of all these terms now. You can always slide back and go through this presentation once again. Finding a home. But how do you find a house? Where is the house that you want to buy? A few resources. My resource is the best, gtaforsalehomes.com. This is my sales pitch. Data from past sales is available. Calculators, reports, listing. Let me show you that. So this is how my website is available to help you. You look at these columns, sale, sold, rent, rented are available. This is the residential section. So you can see all those statistics, because knowing how much is sold for in the past, you will be amazed at what you're paying for it. Sometimes people will not buy that house because they think, oh, the homeowner bought it 6 months before and he's trying to make $300,000. It is very hard to swallow, but the market and at today's point is will determine how much he gets. Okay, so don't feel bad about his purchase at a lower price. And then this is how you will see the historical sales and price history, and you will see this particular property sold in October 7, 2020, on October 7, 2020, and for $902,000, took 47 days to sell it. And now the same house October to April. It's not even 1 year yet. And he is selling it for $1.5 million. Imagine the equity this guy is making a profit. And we are not considering his carrying cost yet. And you can always find your dream home prices if you like a property. And you can add the address right here. So then if that property changes in price, you will get an alert. That's what my website does. You can also do your mortgage calculation. Remember I told you to assess your rent versus buying option. This is how you will punch in the interest rate right here, and then it's going to find you how much you will pay. In this case, if the taxes are $300 per month, $3,600 annual, and it will tell you your mortgage payment is $48.91 at 20% and $51.91 after property taxes. And if you're only paying 5%, which doesn't exist anymore, this is because for that $1.5 million, you will need to put in minimum 20% down payment. So the option 3 is only applicable. But for any other house of a lower value, you will be able to see these things. And then the website gives you other calculators as well, like land transfer tax calculator. This is when you are analyzing your finances before you call a realtor. So this is where you will find out, oh, let me check. I like this property and I may buy a house similar like this. So let me find out how much would be land transfer tax on it, how much would be property taxes on it. And then you can calculate mortgage. You can calculate if you are able to afford that mortgage, and you can also calculate CMHC premium. They're more or less uniform for everything. That's what my website offers you, right? So I'm going to go back on the previous slide. You can also ask your realtor to subscribe you on collab.torontomls.net. This is same platform, but it's a public version like we see. As a listing goes up, you will get an alert on this system. Do not be scattered all across the internet. Find one website. GTAforsalehomes.com is a secure website. Your information is protected. You will get every listing that comes even before it goes on realtor.ca. Collab.torontomls.net is an amazing service, but you have to be with a realtor to get that. And realtor.ca is a public access. So the listings are delayed, maybe by 24 to 72 hours. So if a listing goes up today, you will only get it quickly through gtaforsalehomes.com or collab.torontomls.net. I'm not saying other websites don't provide it. I will give a disclaimer here. And I'm not trying to solicit your business if you're currently working with another brokerage. Keep working with them. They are good people. So now, moving on to my next slide, I already showed you this. So viewing homes, how to view homes? You need to set a daily limit. You cannot see 20 listings in one day. I suggest watching 3 to 4 houses. Make notes when you go there. If you have the listing sheets printed out with you, you can take which one you like, which one you want to consider, so you can shortlist them and then keep them aside. Make notes, because after seeing those houses, your head will get confused which house had which feature. You can also use your cell phone to take pictures of property and keep them with you. That way, you will have a video diary or photo diary. You can always refer back to it. And then this is how you have to set your daily limit. But how do you select a home? Which house you want to see? So before you go to see a house, you can actually drive around the neighborhood. If your realtor has sent you a list of houses to view, feel free to drive around the neighborhood. See if you feel the neighborhood. If you don't feel the neighborhood, Well, don't book that house. And then call your realtor and say, hey, I want to see these houses only. Because you're not buying just one property, you're buying the entire neighborhood. Okay, so that means you have to find the stability. Remember, assessing the neighborhood I spoke about in the beginning, that's what you have to look at. And punctuality is very important when you go view the house. If your booking is fixed at 6 o'clock, make sure you are there at 6 o'clock, because sellers may need to return to their home. So they leave their property just to make sure it is available for you to view unrestricted. Do not be late. Try to be earlier than your appointment time. What to see in a property? This is a very critical component. You just can't be running through all the rooms and say, okay, I like this house. Look into the cabinets, open them up, see if something's leaking. Buyer beware. Depending upon your association with realtor, are you under customer service option or you are under buyer rep agreement? You need to make sure you are getting the best of that service. If it is customer service, it is all upon you to check the house and tell your realtors to dig more into that particular aspect you're concerned about. No realtor would know what your material concerns are unless you tell them to your realtor. So make sure you tell them, let's say, hey, I do not want to buy a house if it has a flooding before. I do not want to buy a house if there is any death, natural or accidental or a homicide. So talk about those clearly and get those noted and signed from your realtor. Okay? Then, just as I said before, make notes at every listing. Remember to see at the ceiling if you see any spots, any brown stains, ask why those are there. If you are thinking of making some changes to the property, then make sure you know the cost. Your realtors would be able to give you an assessment, more or less, because experienced realtors, they do have those numbers from their experience. It comes. And then validate this property's feature with your criteria you set for buying the house. Going back to the first slide. So all those things should sync well. And you can never have 100% match. If it is 7 or 8 out of 10 criteria set, that is a good house for you to buy. No house will be 100%. It will fail on something. So make sure your critical criteria is met. And purchase process. I will again talk about understand brokerage relationship. I think I spoke enough about that. Get to know if you are a customer or if you are a client. Client have higher power, and agent have more accountability to clients than to the customers. So ask them to read out and explain working with a realtor form. Once you have read or understood the disclosure working with a realtor, choose what kind of relationship you want to have with your realtor. If it is a customer, keep your mouth shut. Speak as little as you can. Do not assume the realtor is going to protect your best interest, because you are not under client relationship. So you may be misled somewhere, or you may have a different understanding of the process. Under customer relationship, a real estate professional is not obligated to find or suggest or advise you on anything. Of course, they will be trustworthy, honest. They will answer all your questions with complete honesty and integrity. But that doesn't mean you are protected, because you chose to be a customer. In customer, you can sign with as many agents as you can, but client, you can only sign with one real estate person or brokerage. Alrighty. So establish that. Get to know before you talk. And then discuss your conditions that you want to put in the offer and what they really mean. Are they useful to have, or they are just redundant clauses? Know those things, okay? And then you present an offer. But now you have told your realtors, after analyzing the property values in the particular neighborhood, you will tell him, this is a price I want to offer. It could be lower to higher range. You can start anywhere in between or from the beginning. Depends on the market. You have multiple offers. You have to go with the highest and best offer. No games there. So make sure you give them the price, you give them the deposit, that this is the deposit I'm comfortable paying. And then third thing will be the closing date. And then there is irrevocability, how longer you want to give to the sellers or seller's agent to review your offer. Initially, we used to present offers, but under these circumstances, we are all via email. I sincerely hope that we start working virtually and present one-on-one with sellers. I hope this will happen soon. So now acceptance of offer. So once offer is accepted, this is where you you start your conditional period. And then when offer is accepted, you have conditions to meet if there are conditions. Once you fulfill the conditions to your satisfaction, and then you will remove those conditions, your realtor will send a document saying notice of fulfillment or waiver of conditions in the offer. So that means once these conditions are fulfilled and communicated to the listing agent, your offer becomes firm and binding. You cannot get out of the offer after that. If you do, you may stand to lose your deposit. So make sure you are 100% sure of going forward with the deal. And you cannot just quit on flimsy ground. It has to be the conditions. So the closing day comes, which is also called completion of transaction day. So on that day, you will get the keys and the seller will get the money and all the utilities will be transferred in your name. Make sure you speak with your solicitor on how this thing will work, because most of the municipalities are asking consumers to call them directly. We have a service that we can send a link to you. You can set up your things up there. And the final is your moving day. Moving day is a big day. So caution during the offer process or the whole home buying process. Keep your emotions under control. People make mistakes when they become full of emotions. That your mind works in a different way. When it likes something, it will find a logic for that. But then later on, you may find it was a wrong decision, and then it brings desperation, negativity, fights between domestic dispute. So you want to control those emotions and make a decision just as a neutral buyer. Real estate agents are trained, they are always neutral. For them, every house is a great house because we cannot discriminate. We cannot say, hey, this is my listing, but this is very bad. You will never hear any realtor say that. And second caution is control. Keep control in your hand. Do not spill all your beans. Even though you are in representation agreement, try to hold some vital information. After all, we are all human beings. So maybe you can go higher than the limit you told your realtor, but you can still hold on to that limit. And that would be your discretion at the end. If I know you can go 60,000, but you told me 30,000, I will try to say, hey, you know what, you can get the deal for this dollar. All kind of professionals are out there. So hold your information, control it, okay? Say it, keep it within your limit, and be a part of the negotiation, because you will not see the sellers during negotiation. It is between agent to agent, unless you're buying it directly with that. So negotiation is the key component, and it starts when you go see the house. That is first point of negotiation. If you go again and again, that's going to weaken your position and you will not be able to negotiate on price much. So make sure If you are taking 5 people of your family, these days restrictions are there, maybe 2 people can go in. But if you're taking more people, make sure you do not rebook it. Okay? Or tell your realtor that if he books again, he doesn't take your name, that he is showing a second time. It's nice to know that, right? And then what to share, like I just told you, keep control. Share. You be a part of it. Do not be blindly trusting anyone. It is your money and hard earned money. Protect it as much as you can. Legalities, I'm not a solicitor. This is a disclaimer here. So, whatever information I'm going to share, you must always validate it with a lawyer. I may be wrong when it comes to this, but I will cover it in brief. Role of a solicitor in your transaction, legal fee, disbursements, offer clauses, directions, and failed offers. So the role of a solicitor is to facilitate closing of your transaction. And your solicitor also runs title check on the property you're buying. If there is discrepancy in anything on the title of the property you're buying, and if they can be fixed, they will fix before closing. And if those cannot be fixed, your deal will not go through and you will get your money back. Usually, it is best idea to give 2 weeks time period before closing for a lawyer to requisition the title search. Is when they will go through searching the title. At this point, there should be no condition overlapping this period. Make sure your condition expire or are fulfilled before lawyer calls for requisition. Okay, minimum period is 3 days before closing. Your lawyer should be able to validate 15 days so that if there are discrepancies on title, those can be fixed and closing can happen on time. Sometimes closing go beyond time set in the offer, then people pay penalties. They pay extra money, which is basically the carrying cost of the mortgage by the sellers. So legal fee is a one component. So when you speak with a lawyer, ask him how much legal fee would you charge, and he will tell you 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, or whatever. So if they say, oh, $2,500, make sure you understand, is that overall fee to close the transaction, or if it includes a component of disbursement. Disbursements are the costs that are paid out to third parties, like for running title search, for mailing out, for courier charges, for phone, for copier, getting your title insurance on the property that protects you from any fraud or ID theft in future. All these things become part of disbursement. So make sure you understand that the fee includes what. Okay, you won't call lawyers saying, how much is your legal fee and what a disbursement? Because disbursement may change based on transaction to transaction. The legal component is a fixed component. It is solicitor's own fee for giving you service. Cannot be altered. Depends on how your relationship is with the solicitor. If you are working the same, they may give you a break on the price, but make sure when you call lawyer, what are your fees? And he says $2,500 or $3,000, you should be able to understand what it includes and what will you get. Make a note of all those things in the note sheet, so do not mix up later on. Offer clauses. Some clauses may have conditions on solicitor to validate it, but not happens in GTA, but maybe on commercial properties or some special kind of properties. You may need to see that. So make sure you validate those clauses with the solicitor as well. And offer clauses are also very important. Do not believe that whatever is pre-printed, you cannot change that. You can change any pre-printed clause. Once you add any new clause in the offer yourself, that takes precedence over pre-printed clause. And if, let's say, for example, you're buying a house that has tenants in it. So now your offer says a vacant possession will be provided. It's right on the first page of APS. And if you're assuming tenants, make sure you delete that line. and it should reflect that you're assuming tenants. If you cannot delete there, when you write a clause in the offer that the buyer agrees and acknowledges to assume the tenants, then it will automatically override that. Make sure you're clear about that. If you do not write a sign assumption, the sellers are required to give you a vacant possession. It could be a problem because when you were arguing, negotiating the offer, you agreed to take them, but you forgot to put that in. Your lawyer will insist on getting vacant possession, and you will want to get the tenants along with it. So make sure you understand your option. This is just little example. There could be other clauses too. And you give direction to a solicitor on how the process has to be run. So they usually, it's a big, thick bundle. I really hoped some lawyer to be here today, but unfortunately couldn't arrange one. So those directions will be from your side to pay to utilities, for taxes, for adjustment, and all those nitty-gritties. And the lawyer will read out each and every document to you on the closing day or before that when you go signing the papers. Make sure you understand everything. If the offers fail, and if you firm that up, you may lose deposit. The deposit sits with trust account with one of the brokerages, mostly listing brokerage. And sellers may lay claim to that money because it was your problem, your fault, you did not close it, right? So it's called deal fell through, and they will lay claim on the deposit, and you will lay claim citing your genuine reasons. But if there is no decision on where the deposit goes to, it is taken to the law, the court of law, and the judge decides. So based on the decision by the judge, the brokerage will release funds according to the decision. If judge says give it to buyers, it will come to the buyers. Okay, so this is how all these legalities take place. Make sure you understand entire offer. It's not that you're just signing, trusting. Oh, okay, oh, this is pre-printed. That's fine, but you still try to get as much as you can. Agents are not lawyers. They may not be able to interpret every clause on the APS, Agreement of Purchase and Sale. If you want prior advice, take the document before you sign it, before you submit the offer to the realtor, take it to your lawyer and get it examined and understood. Okay? Closing the deal. This is me smiling. So close the deal is, this is when you will make sure there are any repairs needed, do them before you move in, because once you put your stuff inside, it would be hard to repair. And the dust and all those things, your family doesn't have to get it. Okay? So make sure if you have to put the new floors, put the new floors. You have to paint it before you move in. Take the keys. That's okay. Congratulations, you are a homeowner now, and you will have to arrange duct cleaning when everything has settled. So if you sanded your floors, there's a dust, order duct cleaning a few days later. If you need movers, you will order movers when you need, but book them at least 2 or 3 weeks or a month in advance, because sometimes they get very busy. And happy home ownership. Enjoy your new home and enjoy your life there. I wish you good luck. That was all I wanted to share with you today. For all my clients, I give them 4 hours free moving. This is when most of the moves are completed. Why 4 hours? It is only that sometimes I see people, taking more time packing, but when they know it is 4 hour limit, they will try to squeeze it. They will be prepared. So movers come in, bang, bang, bang. They put their stuff, label them, boom, 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 and then they drop it. Most of the moves can be completed in 4 hours. Normal, 2 to 3 bedroom, they're pretty fast on that. So make sure you can get that done. And I pay for the first 4 hours of moving, which could be more than $1,000. And I also pay for duct cleaning through my cleaners. They are fantastic. They will not come back to you next year because their duct cleaning lasts 3 to 4 years. I can't turn this on. So three, oh my God, I can't straighten my hand. 3 to 4 years. They won't even come if you want them, but they will be there. They are very professional. They have high ratings online, and I take responsibility for that. Order anytime. You got a rain check. Month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months later, you call me, Paul, I didn't get my ducts cleaning and you promised it. I will get it done for you. Okay. You will make your appointment with the duct cleaner. You will arrange everything with them. And I am the only payment component. And I wish you enjoy your home ownership. I guess that is all I had on my presentation right now for you. And I'm going to end this screen sharing right now. If you have any question, feel free to put a note in the YouTube video, and I wish you success. This is Paul Cheema. I'm a broker with Remax Prime Properties and a mortgage agent with Akal Mortgages Inc., where when we say yes, we stand behind our promise. And that's a very big thing. It's a peace of mind to many people. You want to check me out? Go find my Google business on Google. And you can visit my website anytime, day or night, 24/7, 365. I am very um, responsive to your messages. And I give guarantee to my client that if you don't call them back within 2 hours, I will pay them $200 cash. So I haven't paid any cash so far. That means I'm keeping my guarantee. And I sign on that the day we start working together. So wish you good luck. If there are any questions, feel free. But I will again request you to please hit on the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Anytime a new video goes up, you will get notified. I love you all. Bye-bye.